Welcome to lesson two of this course that we have in the module of chasing your goals. Today we're going to look at how to choose the behavior-based goals. Again, we're joined by Twain, and he's going to drop some balls of wisdom on us today. So Twain, let's just hand it over to you straight away.
Awesome, man. So as always, let me get my slides up and we are good to go. Okay, so number two, the second step here, choosing your behavior-based goals. We talked about setting the outcome-based goals in the previous setting, finding that true deep motivation that will power you through the most difficult periods of the journey. But that's not enough, right? We need to know on the day-to-day level, on the micro level, what do we actually do? What are the things that we need to focus on? And so this is where behavior-based goals come in. These are also often known as process-based goals, and it allows you to really focus on the actionable things that will lead to the outcomes that you want. Okay, and these are the things that are actually within your control. So choosing behavior-based goals is a three-step process. You want to first of all identify the one or two areas you're looking to work on. You want to then brainstorm ideas on what could be done for those areas, and then you want to pick the two that are most specific, most actionable, and most realistic for you. This is how it kind of will look like in practice. So the key areas you generally want to consider are nutrition, exercise, your general daily activity, your sleep, your stress. These are all areas relating to general lifestyle wellness and fitness and nutrition. Obviously, this course, as you know, it's about 40 plus fit. But that being said, the idea or the principles behind it still apply to any other goals that you would set. Okay, so I do want you all to understand as you're watching this that you can still use these same principles for other things that you're trying to achieve. Okay, so for most people that come to us, we want to lose weight, right? So most of the time, these key areas are where we will start to look at things. And oftentimes people only look at nutrition and the exercise component, but they tend to miss out on like, okay, daily activity. How active are they? Sleep-wise, are they actually emphasizing their sleep to allow the body to lose fat and to lose weight? How stressed out are they? Because sometimes chronic stress can actually hold back your results. So once you have picked out those specific goals, you can then start turning those outcome goals into behavior goals because you will have certain outcome-based goals that are still kind of behavior-based goals. Okay, so that might sound a bit complicated now that I think about it, but what I mean by that is that let's say your outcome is you want to be healthier, right? So maybe a behavior-based goal is you want to eat healthier, and then you can specify that down in a layer of like different types of behavior-based goals. This table is something you can, of course, press pause right now and take a look at it, get some inspiration, get some ideas from it here, because these are little iterations and examples from actual kind of like real life client examples as well. The list is endless. There's so many iterations you can come up with that are specific to your life. Okay, so I'm not going to spend too much time on this table. You can pause again, go back there, and take a look at it for more inspiration. But here's the main deal. How do you select what to focus on? Some very, very general guidelines that I would highly recommend is this. You want to keep your focus narrow. The reason why is because if you spread yourself too thin, you are going to lose focus. You're not going to be able to do well in any of the things, and you're not going to be consistent at all in any of the things. And at this stage of the game, it's all about generating so much momentum through your consistency that you just cannot help but be successful. So choose only 1 to 2 changes maximum per every 1 to 2 weeks. Especially at the start, you only want to choose maybe 2 changes for the first 2 weeks, and that's it. Okay, so every subsequent week after that, maybe you might add in one more change. If you feel more confident, if you feel like you're getting a lot of momentum, yes, maybe you might add 2 more changes per week. So this is really the most important part of understanding how to choose the behavior-based goals. And more importantly, you can assess the choice of your goal selection through two things. One thing is the behavior rubric. So this is more of a qualitative and subjective assessment of the goals that you have chosen. And you can do it into a quantifiable metric called the scaling test. And so let's go through those two. Once you've selected the goal that you want to action and you want to put into your plan, you then will run it through this behavior rubric. Now, this behavior rubric here is designed to help you look at it qualitatively and think about it holistically in terms of how you're actually going to put it into your life. How is it going to look? It's almost a visualization exercise. So first question is always, how might this new behavior look and feel? Okay. The second one is, how can I set myself up for success? Basically, what are the things that you can do to already start organizing your environment, organizing your schedule, organizing your routine to set yourself up to be able to do this behavior? And then the next one is super important. What are some of the obstacles that you foresee? Because this is one of the things that you have to, that will be most useful for you to draw on previous experience. I'm sure as many of you who have at this course right now, you have had previous successes and also plenty of previous failures. And it's not about not failing. It's always about what can we learn from the failure that we had. And this is a way to kind of project forward and say, what are these obstacles that potentially might happen with this behavior, and you can use previous experience to guide this. And more importantly, how are you going to work around them? Okay. And this last question that we have in the rubric is a little bit more interesting. It's considering the pros and the cons of the new behavior. Why is there pros and cons? It's specifically why are there cons of the new behavior? Why would you want to put in something that will give you a con? Because usually the cons of a new behavior is that you have to give up something else. We are all having limited time and attention in a day, right? We are all defined, well, broadly by the Gregorian calendar and the 24-hour day format. So we are limited by that. But we're also limited by the attention that we have in a day to give to stuff. So it means if I want to give my attention to something new, I have to potentially take away some attention from something else. It could be a distraction. It could be things that don't value add to your life. Maybe some examples I can think of, mobile games that end up taking a lot more of your attention than you realize. It could be, it could be the food that you're always thinking, oh, every single meal I got to make it really, really interesting and varied, and it has got to taste real tasty. So let's say if you were to pick a behavior of establishing meal prep, go with a meal prep company, this might be something you have to give up a little bit, right? Which is I give up a little bit of the like maximum tasting, super delicious, super stimulating kind of food, and then I pull back that stimulation a little bit. I still have some variety. I still eat some healthier food, and that might be a con for the starting point. Yeah. So these are little things you need to consider and you need to accept, because everything has an opportunity cost. And the opportunity cost of staying where you're at is also that you're not going to achieve your goals. So this is really important to do. I think a lot of people skip over this. Now, once you have already assessed all that, you say, hey, the behavior goal I've chosen is great. Let us put it through a scaling test, because implementation is very important and confidence in being able to do it is also very important. So we use this scaling test, a 1 to 10 test, really simply. 1 is that you have no confidence and you feel like it's super impossible to achieve this goal. And 10 is you feel highly confident that you can get it done at least 80% of the time. And the requirement is that when you scale yourself on this new goal, on this scale of 1 to 10, you're asking yourself, hey, if I can get a 9 or a 10, that's super good. This is the behavior that I can confidently say I can implement. Okay, my chances of success are really, really, really high. But if it's an 8 or lower, then you need to go back and say, how can I adjust this behavior to make it easier for me to get it to a 9 or 10? And this is being very honest with yourself. Literally, this process is how we work with clients. Okay, so I take a client through this entire process. I mean, I don't tell them exactly this is what we're doing, but obviously, having done this long enough, this is the exact process that we use. It is honestly quite simple if you look at it, right? But because there's just so many iterations of it, depending on the individual's lifestyle, their preferences, their life experience, that it just comes with the wealth of experience and wisdom that we do to help guide our selection and our advice. So here are some scaling examples, right? Let's say you pick a goal, behavior goal of like, I'm not going to snack throughout the day. I'm not going to have no snacks. And you scale it upon 1 to 10 after you've gone through the whole behavior rubric. You feel it's something you can do. But then you look at it and it says 6 out of 10, right? It's possible. Yeah, maybe I could have no snacks throughout the day. But how can I improve that? We adjust it down to maybe I should pre-portion the snacks during the day. Then I'm not going to have like any random snacking, where I end up binging and going down this rabbit hole. But then it's still only an 8 out of 10. I feel like there's still something missing. How else can I make it even easier? Okay, cool. I can instead eat maybe one piece of fruit. Maybe I can drink a glass of water. Maybe I can do both before eating one portion of snack. So I always have to pay this tax of eating a piece of fruit and drinking a glass of water before I eat the snack. Okay, yeah, I think I can definitely do that because it's not that I cannot have the snack. Now, in my mind, is that I'm not resisting having the snack. I just have to pay my dues before I have the snack. Yeah, I can do that. And so it just goes up straight away to a 10. So this is like a kind of a scaling example. And it's honestly a real life example that I've done with a client as well. Yeah. And what you'll find is honestly, if you try this and you have a problem with snacking, you'll find it's really awesome. It fills you up, and then after that, you just don't have any cravings for the snack anymore. Yeah. So that's it. That's how you select your behavior-based goals and how you kind of put them through the ringer to make sure that you can actually get them done. What do you think, Mike?
It looks good. It looks good. Um, I would ask one question though. What was it now again?
Wait,
When
should
you
I?
are looking
Sorry,
at
should I press
the
stop share? I'm not sure if. Yeah, I'm not sure if what
oh
you.
my, now I can see myself on the screen. Fix my
Now I can
gesture.
see myself too.
All right. So one thing is that, when you're looking at the pros and the cons of a new behavior, yes, you get the opportunity cost and all of that. But sometimes when you're setting the thing, I find it can be quite difficult to get going, if that makes sense. Like I'll give you an example. I come from obviously from a Western background. Grew up in Africa, um, where you watch television shows. Television shows are very promptly 42 minutes long, right? Give or take for the adverts, pushes it to an hour, but the show itself 42 minutes. So it's very quick. Like you could sit down to dinner and just eat slowly and enjoy your food while you watch the show. And by the time the show's finished, your dinner's finished, you can go wash up dishes and you can go on your day. So since I've moved to Asia, I've gotten into watching this thing called K dramas, which is like the Korean shows, right? Now the trouble is with these is that every episode that you watch is now almost like a feature length film long because some of them can be like an hour 20, hour 30 minutes long per episode.
Oh wow.
And
Okay.
so when you got the mindset coming in, like, oh, we just watch an episode. And it's like, wow, this dinner is taking very long. It's like I've eaten my potatoes, I've eaten my this, I've eaten, but the show is still going. So you continue sitting there. So it requires a bit of a mindset shift at the same time because it's a new environment, if we can call it that. And I find that that is one of the tricky things that we also step into when we are trying to alter behaviors
Yeah.
is we might not have changed our mindset from like when we were in our 20s to when we are in our 40s. And
Okay.
so things are slightly different. And when we're now trying to put these together, I think it's very important that we consciously take note that things have changed and we're in a different period in our life with different responsibilities, with different things happening compared to when we had loose free for all in our 20s with
Yeah.
energy of unlimited.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's honestly why the behavior rubric is probably really, really important to not skip over, especially after you've chosen what you want to do. Because that really gives you the background, right? And the consideration of how is your life actually going at the moment, what's the circumstances you're in, such that this behavior is actually relevant, that you can actually get it done. Because if you can't get it done, it's not going to get done in the first place, right? You're not going to see any results anyway. So yeah, so don't skip over your behavior rubric for sure.
Excuse me. And I also like that it's complemented by the scaling test, because that
Mhm.
gives you that bit more of a, how shall we say, fine tuning, if we can call it that. Because you can come in with a big idea, but
Yeah,
it's like, okay, from now on, from this month, I'm going to walk 10,000 steps a day. And it's like,
yeah,
okay, let's think this through. Walking 10,000 steps a day, where does that sit? Am I going to achieve this 80% of the time or not? It's like, all right, maybe since I'm walking 1,000 steps a day, let's up it to 2,000 and
yeah,
let's hit 2,000 steps a day because that might be more achievable for now. And if I'm consistent with that, okay, let's hit 3 to 4,000. However, you go according to your scaling test. So I quite like that the scaling test it like complements the behavior rubric quite nicely, and it helps you to refine it even more.
yeah. I mean, I love to take credit for all these, but let's be honest, all these behavior-based psychology science that's already been well established.
But
So
you
it
still have
really
to
does.
select which one to use, right? So you can still
Oh,
take that
sure.
credit.
Yeah. And again, all this is just like the model that we take clients through, or I take clients through all the time. And you also are sharing some of these things, right? With I mean, you don't call yourself like a full-fledged coach, but you are helping people that come to you for advice as well. So I'm sure you share all these similar models. Is
Yep.
this literally the way we work? I'm just explaining it and breaking it down into a more systematic format.
Okay. Awesome. I think that wraps it up for the second lesson.
Yep.
So the next lesson will be moving on to what probably everybody's here for, and that is the action, taking action on how to implement these things. For,
100%.
without further ado, we'll see you in the next lesson.